Hey guys, Adam here from Liberty Digital. Got a new project here to show you all. This is by far my favorite project so far. It's for Jaiden Priestley. Jaiden's a semi-pro weightlifter. He's won a bunch of national, international titles in the space of weightlifting, but he's a really interesting guy. Like he's into motorcycles and horse riding, and he's a fire rescue worker. Like that's his actual day job. But he's got a trade in as a boiler maker, so he's a welder as well, and so he's just a really interesting guy. The site was originally for getting sponsorships for his international, national and international comps. So I was kind of thinking at the start, like, you know, the classic sports website. And I was thinking like, well, he's young, so like a skater or like surfing, like in that space. There's not many weightlifters or even bodybuilders with websites. So I initially I did the site as like with that kind of urban feel. One thing Jaiden said in the brief was he really dug the Pit Viper marketing, and so he wears Pit Vipers, and he would love to be sponsored by Pit Viper. If you're watching this, Jaiden would love to be sponsored by you guys at Pit Viper. Anyway, but Pit Viper's marketing is incredible. And it took me, man, I don't know if you should be able to see this in the video now, but it's this old sort of, well, what is now retro. And this is what I remember the internet to be when I was a teenager. It was this kind of Windows 95, or even kind of older. And really it's 90s. So there's like 1980s elements, like the fluoro colors, which is more of an 80s thing. Like that wasn't really cool in the 90s. Like that had sort of shifted out. But now with that, there's this kind of reprisal, like a renewal of, it's blending these like fluoro hypercolor themes and the 1990s digital elements. So you can see here like the Windows 95 style menu. Check out their account page. Now this is really cool. This kind of 90s. Man, it's just a really cool mix. You kind of got this pixelated background. The font is pixelated, and you've got this image over here, which anyone, if you remember, you'd have like a dial-up modem going in the background, like humming away and making its R2D2 sounds, and then an image would load like line by line, and an image like this might take, I don't know, 5 minutes to load up. That was what the internet used to be. Anyway, so Pit Viper has got these really cool elements, and I never really thought like this, because I mean I was still in the web design idea of like making things modern and using all the things that we're now able to use with because everyone's got fast internet. So anyway, so we kind of use a bunch of those like old school elements. I don't know if you can see here, but there's this like 80s font, like, you know, and it's kind of like, I don't know, 1980s science fiction movies, like your Flight of the Navigator, Back to the Future, Blade Runner. And that's like with the logo, we went through a bunch of different logos and kind of got this psychedelic mix of red, pink, and purple overlaid and blue. And these colors just don't match, but that was the time. And then I laugh every time I see this. We got this these check boxes, man. Like that was like a big thing with old websites, and things moving in clunky and a little bit pixelated and not perfect. So there was Jaiden's got a lot of great photos of actually the photos themselves aren't that great, but the content of the photos are really cool, like riding motorcycles, riding horses, lifting heavy weights. It's hyper masculine, interesting stuff. So I had to like find this and kind of make it like this cheesy 1990s way how we used to do website design back then. We got the video interview with David Louis on the BA podcast, which shares Jaiden's story. This is cool. So I've just finished like fine tuning this today. We use the old icons from Instagram, which is really only 10 years old, so it's not even retro yet, but it kind of adds to that feel. And I created this silly sort of game where when you try to hit the icon, it moves away, and I've got that all throughout the site, and does this silly wobble thing, like it's excited that you're about to click on it. You can see it on the mobile version. Yeah, and so you can see how it moves there. If we go to the about, I'm still waiting on a bit more content to sort of show. Jaiden's won 4 or 5 state, national, and international awards in weightlifting. So we want to sort of show that he's legit. And I got this thing where he kind of dodges the mouse. Like, yeah, I don't. If anyone's 40 years old and older, they'll remember these silly little games that computers, like this new technology that, there was all these funny little games. But we've got these modern elements down here. So this is a modern style footer where you've got an image underneath, and there's an overlay, but it's focusing, it's kind of got a vignette. So you're focusing on the center of the image, which is Jaiden lifting an enormous amount of weights at, I think, a national competition. So that's kind of cool. It's using the best of both worlds. Well, that's what I've tried to do. I'm not sure if I succeeded. And of course, so the big thing we're going for is sponsors. So we've got the sponsors page, and so this allows for, in the future, when he gets big name sponsors who are going to help finance his sports career, that we can put these elements, put thank yous in the on the page here, and to say thanks. Yeah, so that's that. And another thing, Jaiden, I mentioned before, is also a welder. So he's got a side hustle doing welding when he's not away fire rescuing or in an international weightlifting competition. So I built this section as if it's a whole separate website. And we did an icon and a logo and everything, so it shows that he's got a welding business. It's pretty basic. It's just him, and some of his jobs. We're waiting on. So these are just stock images, but He's got images. He's done hundreds and hundreds of jobs. He specializes in aluminium welding, MIG and TIG welding, but also other types of welding, so he can handle small and medium jobs. And yeah, so you can land on the welding page. So I wanted to make it so locals who just need a welding service, they can land on his welding page, and it just looks like he's a welder. You know, if they look down at the footer, then they can access the other stuff, and there's an explanation here, like, you know, saying what he does, but it's not going to get confusing. So if you see on the desktop version, there's the contact. I built this like cool, I put a really small image of checker plate steel underneath the contact form, and we've got all like everything's responsive and it moves. This link, so all of this is interactive, so kind of got this classic section where you know, it's got a little bit about what he does, that he's legit, like he's got his trade. He's not just some dude who's bought a welder. He's got skills, and he wanted also primarily for people just to call him, so they'll check out the page and then just click on the number and call, and you can, like, it's all set up to call him directly. So that's that, but you can't get to the rest of the site through here. So if you click on any of this, it keeps you within the welding part of the website as if it's its own website. But if you go down to the footer, then it'll take you back to his main page. Yeah. So yeah, that was really fun. Love that. Anyway, yeah, enough's enough. That's my new favorite website. If you got any questions, hit me up. If you want a website like this or you know, something else, hit me up. Thanks, guys.